Nathan Davis here for NHDPHOTO. Today I want to talk about a wireless setup I bought. It's a wireless RF setup that I bought off of Amazon. It's a 4-channel, so you can actually buy more of these bases and set up more strobes if you want to. And I use the strobes that I used in my other video I made a while back about how to use vintage flashes as external strobes. Now, the difference is that with that video I was showing you how to do it optically through, having a external flash on your camera. When you take the picture, the light from your flash will set off the other strobes. This is a wireless setup, so you don't have to have a flash on your camera in order to do this. You just need this little device here. Now, again, I always warn about attaching cheap devices to your expensive equipment, and so I usually use my PC sync cord in order to attach this to my camera, and I set it on top of my bracket here. And my handy dandy $16 bracket. They're always good to have. Just a cheap bracket like this has come in handy so many different times. And with this, I can put this on top of the cold shoe on the bracket, and then use this cable to connect it to the camera. A PC sync connection can handle like over 250 volts, whereas your hot shoe can only handle 6 volts. This is rated for 6 volts. There is a little, I think it's a CR123 battery in it, but it's a cheap product, and I have used it on shoe before, but sparingly when I forgot the cable. So basically, didn't have any issues, but still, the thing of it is, this is made out of very cheap parts, and the rate of failure is going to be a lot higher for this. So I don't want this to fail while it's on the hot shoe of my camera and then cause damage to the hot shoe. So that's why I prefer doing it this way. If you don't have a camera with a PC sync port, you can get a safe sync. Again, that would be an option if you don't have one with a PC sync port on it. Of course, safe syncs are cheap devices, and you take your risk, or you can just put it on top of your camera. Like I said, I didn't have any trouble. It is rated at 6 volts. I just like to be a little bit more cautious when using cheap devices like this. And again, this comes apart, and there's a little, I think there's a CR123 battery in there. That'll last for practically ever in something like this. It's sending out such a small a small electrical signal each time, so it's not really going to draw a lot. And I connect them to my stands with this angular head thing here that has a hot shoe mount on top. That it's basically a channel, and you can move this back or forward, and it clamps into place on the side. It's kind of cool. These were like $8 off Amazon, and I'll put another link for these as well. And the receiver takes 2 AAA batteries, so I got the NIMH rechargeable batteries, so I just charge them up. They last a very long time. I mean, I've used these in a number of different shoots and finally just had to replace the batteries. So yeah, they last a very long time in this camera. In this receiver. So yeah, that's another way of doing it. And you can use the optical ones as well. If you don't have any more of the receivers and you want to have more strobes set out, you can actually connect other vintage flashes to the optical ones I showed before that are really inexpensive. And once these are remotely triggered, they'll trigger the other ones as well. So you'll get more of a dynamic lighting situation. With these vintage strobes, you can go to a thrift store and find them. You can find them online on eBay, or $10-11 is what I've spent on them. I haven't spent any more than that. I have 2 Vivitar. I have one Nikon speedlight. It's a SB22. It's an older SB speedlight, and so yeah, I mean, I've got a number of these, and this one here I got at a thrift store with the the camera and the lens. So yeah, that was a good deal. I think I paid $40 for it, the whole setup. And so I got a flash, I got a lens, and I got the camera body, which I cleaned up and put on the shelf. Kind of cool. So yeah, you can find these pretty much anywhere for, you know, very little money, and that's going to give you something that in your arsenal that's very beneficial, especially if you get into lighting. You really need to have the ability to diversify your lighting, other than having it just come from the camera. And this is an inexpensive way to do it. You know, under $100 you can pretty much have all the lighting you need, and using basic equipment like this. So yeah, it's a great device. Like I said, comes with the transmitter, 2 receiver boxes. You can set them for different channels, and again, this is a 4-channel setup, which means you could buy 4 of these and use them with 4 different stations if you were doing some kind of business setup, and they would not interfere with one another. So that's the benefit for this also, is that it's inexpensive, and you can use 4 within, you know, the wireless range without interference. So yeah, inexpensive. I think like I said, I paid $30 for these, and I used the vintage strobes I had. But even if you were buying vintage strobes or newer cheap strobes, you know, the ones made in China, you're going to spend maybe brand new $30, $40. There's some that are $50 that actually have the LCD display on the back that you can do manual adjustments. A lot of the cheaper ones you can't. And vintage ones, the benefit is there's actual switches that go through the ISO range that allow you to adjust the output. So that's the benefit of the older ones, is that they do have manual or analog controls for adjusting the output of the strobes. So yeah, this is my recommendation for this, and again, I will put the link for the wireless setup and also the bracket here, the elbow bracket, so that you can find that as well. That'll attach to a stand. You can get any standard stand. Again, stands are cheap as well. You can get them for like 10, 11 bucks, or at the most 20, unless you get the spring-loaded or hydraulic ones, which are way more expensive. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.